What is up, geeks and gamers? It's your boy Q.
And your boy QMG.
And we're once again here to bring you guys into the Quniverse, where we talk to you guys about everything geeky, gamey, and nerdy. So shout out to my geeks and gamers in the universe. How are you guys doing this lovely Sunday? As you can see, we're rocking our Spider-Man attire because we went this weekend to see Spider-Man Far From Home. But before we get into that, once again, appreciate the support, guys, for everybody who's tuning in. You guys leave a like, leave a comment, share this video. The support is much appreciated. So appreciate you guys for constantly tuning in. We're getting a lot of views and a lot of love from you guys out there. So you guys keep tuning in. And we're going to keep trying to bring you guys awesome and quality content.
Yes, the support you guys have been giving on all of the platforms, sharing it on Facebook, watching on YouTube, and subscribing. All of those things have been much appreciated. We still aren't planning on stopping. We're going to continue pushing like we said we were, with multiple content, constantly bringing you once you get done watching the live recordings, you can rewatch it anytime you want to when it goes live on YouTube with the video version. We still are going to do this upcoming week, we will be doing our recorded versions of the Into the Quniverse podcast. So when Sunday comes, we can give you a completely different, a new experience, as well as with the experience you're used to, what we've been giving you. So be prepared for that.
So let's do a round of applause for that.
Yes,
for you and you guys. Go ahead and give us our round of applause. We ain't got our round of applause going. Hold on. You know that's coming.
Technical difficulties.
There we go. Get our round of applause going there.
Make sure everything's up to snuff.
But with that being said, let's go ahead and get right into it. Well, like I said, we saw in Far From Home this weekend.
Let's first give a shout out because we have our first person joining us.
We got Form. Appreciate you for tuning in.
Shout outs to Big Form. Our first person joining us.
That.
Ooh. Gotta love them technical difficulties. It keeps us real and grounded up in here.
But yeah, so we saw Far From Home this weekend. As you can see with our Spider-Man attire and the Spider-Man figurines down here.
Yes, with the Spider-Man attire is a choice. This is something we wanted to do. This is a choice because in Memphis is currently 90 degrees and this room doesn't get the AC very well. So
yes, it do.
So if we start sweating, know that we're sweating to give you guys the best content you deserve.
I'm not going to be sweating because it's not even hot anymore. But anyway.
2 minutes in, so of course it's not going to be hot.
Anyway. We saw Far From Home this weekend, and I was very, very hyped. The movie was really well done. Just off that, I liked it. I think Tom Holland is solidifying himself as one of the best Spider-Men we've had, even though we've only had 3. He's taking his time getting up there. His catalog is getting really strong with his first second personal outing in his own movie. And I'm definitely happy to see where we're going with this. I'm going to let QMG start it off, because I know he has a lot to say about it, and I'm going to come in and side chime and let my thoughts be known. But you can go ahead and start off.
Spider-Man Far From Home, as a person, and I said this previously, who wasn't all too enthused on the portrayal of Spider-Man in the MCU as we've seen so far, but even more specifically being very disappointed with Spider-Man Far From Home. I will be the first to tell you that Far From Home isn't a minor, but it is a major improvement on that characterization of Spider-Man. It didn't do any major retcons to personally speak to a long-time classic Spider-Man fan, but it definitely said, if there was very blatant. Well, Q wouldn't know because he's falls into the category of people who liked it from Jump Street, but from people who weren't jumping, a lot of people who weren't enthused, they did a lot to fix problems with the character. They didn't lean too heavy into the MCU characters that aren't, caked into Spider-Man lore, but rather focused a lot on the side characters. There's surprising how little of Spider-Man we actually see in the movie as far as the Spider-Man movie goes. It definitely focuses on Peter to his credit, and it works. And the side characters, none of the side characters in the Spider-Man side felt annoying or tacked on. They all served a purpose, and fit the characterizations that were brought up in previous iterations of the Spider-Verse, of that corner of the Spider-Verse in the MCU. So that was Zendaya and Tom Holland's chemistry was A1. I appreciated it. They definitely expounded on them as characters individually and together. Ned definitely got better as a character. His comedic timings were good, and his whole side plot, while nothing too big, was definitely entertaining to watch. Well, the visuals in the movie were great. And this is one of the few Marvel movies that have consistently good visuals from beginning to end, especially during some of the fight scenes in the movies. Is they don't skimp out. It's nothing really that is very noticeably bad or subpar. You can tell they spent a lot of time perfecting the CGI aspects of it. Back to Tom, he was very, very grounded as a Peter Parker, especially seeing as going through what he went through. It didn't make you dwell on some of the shortcomings that they did in previous movies with him in it, but they made sure to show the effects of those, which I felt like that was the best thing that they could do, dealing with, Iron Man not being there, him being one of the few superheroes to still be around and having to pick up the pieces of what happened, and just those general things that's going on. And it definitely presents Peter in one of my favorite interpretations on how to do Peter, is that it presents him in a situation where he's justified for feeling like he doesn't want to be Spider-Man at this point, but the situation requires him to be Spider-Man. And I personally feel that with the plot in this movie, while there were definitely, my major problem with Homecoming, it was that they wanted so bad to make Peter seem like he was out of his element, but did literally nothing to properly show that. They wanted you to say, yeah, he's a kid, but yet every situation they put him in, he excelled completely. Even in the ones where he quote-unquote failed, he only failed for what had to be the best example of poorly thought-out plot convenience. It wasn't anything feasibly that, as a viewer, I would go, well, yeah, he did mess that up. No. 9 times out of 10, a Spider-Man would succeed, and it was because of it did suspend your belief well enough to make you go, oh yeah, Spider-Man could mess that up. It came off as, well, the plot in the movie wants him to mess up, even if it doesn't make sense for him to mess up. And Far From Home, that problem isn't there. When Spider-Man messes up, it's because he messed up. It's because he did something that he shouldn't have done. And he's definitely trying to fix that problem to the best of his abilities. And sometimes he does, and sometimes he doesn't. But it definitely portrays it in a way where Peter tries to go through something and fails, and then learns from it, which is one of the cornerstones of Spider-Man's character. Jake Gyllenhaal as Mysterio is phenomenal. Yeah. The way we're gonna go more in depth with it, but I'm just gonna say that the way he portrays his character fits to a T. Just the legacy of the MCU. Like, if you want to see the whole movie in of itself has an underlying, like, it feels like even more than Endgame, greatest hits of certain Marvel plot points, and Jake Gyllenhaal and Mysterio is one of the tent poles for that.
Shout out Jake Gyllenhaal. Let's give him a round of applause for his portrayal as Mysterio. Good job. Yeah, he did a really good job.
Nick Fury and Nick Fury's presence in the movie. We'll seem off-putting until the literal very end of the film, and that's all I'm going to say about that.
For right now.
But even in that regards, he still is a joy to watch, and he doesn't hamper down the role, hamper anything down. Really, even all of the characters, as I'm sitting here thinking about it, all the characters, whether they're classic Spider-Man characters or MCU tie-ins, they all fit the movie. They all fit the movie very well with their positions in the movie. Nothing feels tacked on character-wise for the movie go. Q?
I definitely agree with you on certain points. Now, like QMG was saying earlier, I'm definitely one of the people who already loved the direction that Tom Holland's Spider-Man was going in, all the way back from Civil War and Homecoming. I definitely liked, even though since we didn't get Uncle Ben saga with this Spider-Man, I felt like it was necessary that they needed to give him some type of Uncle Ben figure, since we didn't have that in this trilogy. And I'm a firm believer of every universe that we see in movies doesn't necessarily have to be the same iteration of Spider-Man. So with the dynamic between him and Tony Stark, I definitely loved it. And going forward, now that the stuff that Tony Stark has instilled in him and Peter Parker's own strength that shows that he can be better than Tony Stark, I feel like they're going in a good direction with his character. As far as Far From Home, it was just a quintessential Spider-Man story. He did one hell of a job. I think the whole direction that they were trying to go was very grounded in this is the end of a phase, but a beginning of a new one. So they didn't try to overshoot, even though some of the stuff was like, whoa, mind-blowing, but they didn't overshoot us going into a new phase. It's like they're setting up, just like in 2008 with Iron Man 1, it's like it's setting that whole saga up again for the next 10 to 15 years. As far as the movie itself, the cinematography was great. One of my favorite scenes was when Spider-Man used his spider sense close to the end of the movie. That was one of my favorite scenes. The dynamic between Zendaya and Tom Holland, really good. I love this MJ. This is an MJ more tuned to the MJ that's in certain comics where she's more of a badass and not so much of a damsel in distress, where she's doing her own thing, where she's more in tune to not letting someone save her, but she's also helping. And because actually Spider-Man wouldn't have found the things out that he did.
Between Zendaya,
he wouldn't have found out none of the things he did if. What do you?
I'm trying to make you read the comments. He was coming in.
There you go. But now you can't. Oh, sorry, technical difficulty.
No, just because I can't see the things. I'm trying to make.
But you can't hear that now. Technical difficulty, guys. Sorry, but no, the dynamic between Zendaya and Tom Holland, it was really good. Once again, MJ, this MJ is really good, and I would love to see where they go with their dynamic moving forward. I'm pretty sure she's going to have a more prominent role in helping him. And like I was saying, Spider-Man wouldn't even found out what he found out at that time if it wasn't for MJ until it was too late. So it's showing that even though Spider-Man believes he can try to bear this weight on his back and do everything himself, that is not necessarily true, and he always will need help from outside forces that he might not believe can help him at that moment. But once again, Jake Gyllenhaal's Mysterio was on point with darn near to the T what Mysterio usually is, and
I'll say even better than what Mysterio is normally considered.
As far as the over dramatic,
I like literally everything about traditional Mysterio. I feel like they took the concept of what Mysterio could be and actually delivered on it in a way that doesn't feel like it's like, because most iterations of Mysterio, like, he's kind of like, with the exception of like probably a handful of stories, he's always played for jokes because he's not like Ock or Green Goblin, Sandman, none of those guys. He's literally an illusionist whose, whole gimmick is out illusioning Spider-Man, but then like how most the iterations go, Spider-Man literally gets him and punches him once and it's over. And that definitely wasn't the case with this movie. But going back to your observations on the film's CGI, let's talk about some of the some of the standouts, specifically the elementals and how they were and how they did with those characters and how the CGI was relying on that.
Well, the elementals were as good as any CGI monster, I think, that we've seen. The real CGI the real graphic enhancement that stood out to me is how they did the Mysterio illusions. Because that's one of the biggest parts of Mysterio's character.
The illusions were good too. And the elementals, the way they were, the way the elementals were, they were very good as well. But yeah, the Mysterio illusion, I was kind of going to build that up to that. But yeah, the Mysterio illusions were very not just on the surface level of the comic book iterations, but also on a technical level.
Yeah,
and how seamless it went through, and
how they described it. It was really done well. And my thing is, if they only used Mysterio's illusions for the elementals, I would have been very disappointed. And they even did the callback to Giant Mysterio when he reached through and grabbed.
Yeah. But that's a classic move by Mysterio.
Giant Mysterio's illusion.
Yeah, Mysterio was just a fantastic villain. And he was a real fantastic villain in the movie. I was kind of iffy on if he would even really be the primary villain, because Marvel sometimes has a tendency of hiding another villain in the movie by hyping up another villain. So I'm glad to see that was the case with Mysterio, and he did not disappoint us at all.
And this is just the technical and stuff we like. We didn't even. We haven't even got into the comedy aspect, which is a staple in the MCU. This movie was hilarious.
Well, I would, I would hope a Spider-Man movie would have some level of high, good comedy.
Definitely.
But I would say that on the list of funny, like explicitly funny MCU movies, I'd say this is like number 3-ish. Like,
it was definitely funny.
It was a
scene when he was in the when the lady was giving him his stealth suit, and Brad walked in.
that was pretty funny. My standout moment in the film, my standout funny moment in the film is when gosh darn, closer toward the end of the movie, when for those who don't know, one of the small subplots is Happy Hogan, Iron Man's best friend / bodyguard, and Aunt May. They kind of are seen flirting throughout the movie, and towards the end of it, once the day is saved, Spider-Man asks, are you guys dating? And Happy says yes, and Aunt May goes no. And basically, the whole scene serves as one big friend zone moment for Happy, because throughout the whole movie, he's kind of stupid in love with Aunt May, but
everybody is in that universe.
Yeah, but it's like he legitimately thinks he has a shot, and then she just drops. No.
Well, to Happy's defense, the whole movie it was looking like she was sending the same vibes.
Just because she said it was a summer fling. That's his scene.
Y'all know what I'm talking about.
Nah, it's a summer.
Y'all know what I'm
It's a summer fling. If you can't discern when a woman, if you're trying to be all up on a woman like that, and she ain't even said as
we're gonna see in the next movie what happens.
But yeah,
quick side note, once again, we have to go into our viewers watching our Geeks and Gamers. Sean, what up? Appreciate you for tuning in. Rakeem, appreciate you guys for tuning in. You guys keep watching. But now for a brief pause on Spider-Man.
Hold on.
I got this. I'm just pause. I just watched Stranger Things season 3. I know you ain't.
I literally know nothing about Stranger Things.
I'm not spoiling nothing.
I don't know anything about it.
This guy hasn't watched Stranger Things, guys.
There's a lot of things.
Let me know in the comments if you guys watch Stranger Things. I just finished season 3. Man, you guys, if you love Stranger Things, you guys need to watch that now. You need to go watch it. It's amazing. I enjoyed it very much, and I can't wait to see what those guys do. Those kids, man, they acting is incredible. So like I said, guys, if you guys on Netflix, go watch Stranger Things season 3. Go watch it. It is amazing. The story is getting better. The characters are getting better at traversing their own story. It's just a great watch. You guys go watch that. What were you saying, bro?
Oh no, I was gonna say now, because we're done with the non-spoilery things with Spider-Man: Far From Home.
You ready to talk about spoilers already?
I'm just ready because there's a lot to go in depth with that requires a. It's not heavy spoilers, but we're going to break down everything. It's not. I guarantee you, it's not. It's going to go into certain things that we have to talk about to really paint the picture for the movie, but. Other than that, we're not going to go into any speculatory details about what could happen. Just lay the groundwork for what it is.
Hold on. Just because speculating ain't a spoiler. You can speculate.
Most of the time, people speculate about this type of stuff. Trust me, when I say go into deep, you don't know what I'm saying, because there's only really one real direction that some of these spoilers can go in, and we don't want to go down the rabbit hole too much. So. Right now, we're going to go break it up with a lightning round with our favorite moment, a quick fire lightning rounds. So first things first. This week, we saw a couple of light tournaments. Now, I know you were keeping up with one of them, the Capcom Pro Tour for Street Fighter V.
And I watched a little bit of it. I didn't watch everything.
And another tournament, overseas tournament for MK11, and that kind of leads into the quickfire question about EVO, the largest tournament in the fighting game tournament in the world, and for the first time in event's history, a Street Fighter game is not guaranteed to be the main game at the event. So my quickfire question to you, Q, is if it won't be Street Fighter V, what game do you think will be the main game of EVO 2019?
Well, first of all, when we say it's a possibility. So that's not even 100%.
That's what
definitely. No, I'm just reiterating. 100%. So once again, it still could be Street Fighter, but obviously to me, my second heart is telling me that if anything, is going to be Tekken 7. Tekken 7 is the only other fighting game out right now garnering as much worldwide acclaim as Street Fighter. Mortal Kombat 11 is really good. Dragon Ball FighterZ is really good, but as far as Evo standards, the only two games that are garnering that much attention is Tekken 7 and Street Fighter 5. So it's only Tekken. Only one I can see being is Tekken 7.
Yeah, and I agree with that statement. While I would argue that Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is the larger game, viewership-wise, because of the casual audience it could bring in, quality-wise, I'd argue that Tekken 7 has a higher ceiling of delivering that over-the-top fantastic action that people in the FGC are used to, especially when it comes to Evo. So that's it for number one. My second quickfire question is, we are knee-deep in summer, and for those who don't know, this being the month of July, it's Comic-Con. It is literally the month for the San Diego Comic-Con. And this Comic-Con seems to be a smaller endeavor. We talked about previously how DC isn't going to be there as far as its movies are concerned. How Marvel is going to be there, but their stuff won't be anything. They're not going to be talking about anything that we want to hear, rather, especially when we get into the spoilers for Spider-Man Far From Home. They probably definitely aren't going to expound upon that. And the only other main thing that's going to be out there that has a major franchise attached to it is Power Rangers. It's basically Power Rangers is like number 2 and Marvel's number 1, and then basically it's a free for all for anything else, but it's not that big. So Q, see, between Power Rangers and Marvel, give your dream scenario of what you want to see announced at Comic-Con. Not necessarily plausible, but dream-wise.
Dream-wise, there isn't really anything left. We done seen Endgame. We've seen Spider-Man Far From Home. We've seen Aquaman. We've seen Shazam. We've seen
just in the context of Power Rangers and Marvel. Not, don't even have to be expansive like that. But if you had to have one dream thing show up at Comic-Con 2019 between those two, if not just one,
a trailer for, if anything, a trailer for the next Power Rangers movie. If we want to talk about Power Rangers, and for Marvel, I want to see a list of the movies. I want to see a list of the next phase. Get a list of the next phase and see what we can deduce from that. Once again, I'm not really hyped for Black Widow though, because it's a prequel, but
100% prequel.
But you know, but those are two main things I want to see.
For me, I would love to see I would love to just hear, I don't even need a full movie slate for Phase 4. All I would need to hear is confirmation that the X-Men and Fantastic Four are in development and will be out within the next 2 years, because like you, I don't like, not just Black Widow, there's a lot of quote-unquote upcoming Marvel movies that have been largely rumored to be within the pipeline that I'm not excited for at all. Not even if the trailer hits, I'm not going to be trying to kick down the door to go see it. And the X-Men and Fantastic Four are those things that would make me kick down the door and go see them. And as far as Power Rangers goes, just like you, the update on a new Power Rangers movie, and where they're going to be going with the fantastic comic book series that they've been just knocking out of the park.
Yeah.
And and look, the TV show too, because that's been hitting as well. So just a general thing with Power Rangers go. And that's it for the second one. And for the third / final quickfire question. This week we will be seeing the next big Call of Duty Black Ops 4 update, and it's 100% revolved around zombies, as well as the new zombies map Alpha and Omega, which will be the beginning of the end of the OG storyline of zombies. So Q,
ain't they gonna have a DLC for?
Yeah, the beginning of the end. It's not the end, but the beginning of the end for it. But so Q, what do you want to see the most out of this upcoming Call of Duty Black Ops 4?
A whole reimagining of Nuketown and Transit in one map.
In one map?
Yes, because they've already, for people who haven't been keeping up with it, shout out Mr. Dalek JD. Shout out, always keeping me up on my zombies news. For all the people, shout out once again. Also, shout out to all my zombies, Call of Duty Zombies fans who've been playing Call of Duty Zombies since World at War or Black Ops 1. Shout out to you guys.
Modern Warfare, even Modern Warfare 2.
That's not zombies.
Well, I'm saying
that's Spec Ops.
But yeah, we started most of that
World at War, but World at War. So shout out to all my people playing zombies since then. But yeah, so it was announced that the map is actually going to take place on Nuketown Zombies once again, because the actual base where they're doing the experiments are on Nuketown. But
it'll be much.
It'll be larger.
Yes.
And not to mention, we're going to probably have an underground science facility under the map as well because of the bunker. But we also have the transit bus that goes through Nuketown as well. So
yeah, it was long since rumored from back in the day when Nuketown first
you could hear the bus.
Yes.
So we're going to get a lot of Easter eggs calling back to transit as well. The bus. Remember the secret Route B bus that everybody tried to find for like 30 years.
But let me blow your mind with this one, because you said that's what you want to see. I wouldn't be surprised if transit wasn't a blackout map. If they didn't turn transit into a blackout map, like Alcatraz was a blackout map, and then it just because transit that's prime blackout material.
That would be cool.
And plus, you don't have to worry about denizens, so everything will be wide open. So I believe that transit may have a higher chance of being a blackout map as opposed to being a part of Alpha and Omega.
That would be great.
I could be wrong, but I've been thinking about that because I have been hearing about transit coming back, and like they were teasing Alcatraz is coming back, and people assumed it was going to be a new map and the remaster, a new zombies map, and it was just an add-on to Blackout. I can definitely see the bus being a mode of transportation, if not a drivable vehicle. They already got the diner, but then add on to it,
And I want to see Russman, Marlton, Stuhlinger, and Misty come back.
Yeah,
I like those characters. A lot of people didn't like them.
A lot of people have come around on them.
Yeah, I actually like them. So I would love to see them come back. I would love to see their banter after what has happened. And that's pretty much it on that. We'll talk more about that after we actually get the gameplay trailer, which I think will come out tomorrow.
Yes, and that's normally how it's always been done with Treyarch in their games. There's always been something that they put out the trailer the day before, especially with this round of games.
We might even stream some of that Saturday. I don't know. We might.
We'll be gone Saturday. We'll be gone Saturday.
And y'all, oh shit.
Wait, we're gonna hold off that to the end. We don't want them watching our moves. When we drop it, it's gonna be a surprise. All we're gonna say is, watch out for us on Saturday. Just be prepared for us to come through on Saturday. We got our first major event to look forward to. So just matter of fact, we're gonna give you guys an incentive to watch our record, to make sure you are one of the first to listen to our recorded version of our Into the Quniverse podcast. Because on the recorded version, we will let you know exclusively where we will be at this Saturday and where to watch us and how to watch us. So now it's time to get on to the last topic of the show.
Let's get ready to rumble!
Because it's saved a lot of time for this one.
Because it's time for some action, as Redman would say. And now we're about to get into the spoilers of Spider-Man Far From Home. Spider-Man.
First, I want to start off with a celebration. Because we got to see that our prayers were answered and J.K. Simmons.
Wait, before we go back into let's go in chronological order. Because
that's the biggest thing.
But it's the most. So we're gonna save it for the last thing. We're not gonna talk about that just yet, because first we have to talk about what me and you first predicted to be correct. Which, if you knew Spider-Man, you knew this, but apparently a lot of people didn't, and that was Mysterio was lying about everything.
Everybody knew that.
And most importantly,
everybody knows.
He was lying about multiverse.
He was lying about everything.
He was lying about multiverse, and he was lying about everything. He lied about being from another planet. We kind of assumed that he was from another universe, but he was just lying about that. No. It turns out that he was a Like, he was a Stark employee, ex-Stark employee rather, who
The one
created
who made Barf.
the one who created Barf. And if you were familiar with Captain America: Civil War, that was the technology Tony Stark was showing off at the beginning of the film. He was very upset that Tony took his idea that could have been used usefully, but was basically relegated to some therapeutic. Something therapeutic for him to use and give a silly name. And one of his main accomplices, and this was a bigger deep cut that I did confirm, he was one of the, if you go back and you watch the very first Iron Man, and Jeff Bridges' character is yelling at a scientist how to recreate an Iron Man, who says one of my favorite lines in MCU history. He created something better than this in a cave with a box of scraps. He was also there working with Quentin Beck Mysterio to create the Mysterio idea, the Mysterio gimmick, using these drones that Tony created in this dumbass satellite that literally, for some reason, and this is where I'm going to, and the spoilers are also going to double for me some of the gripes I had with the movies, because the gripes I have with the movie are very spoilery. But before I get into that, let's just go into Mysterio's plot. Basically, what Mysterio wanted to accomplish was seeing how Iron Man, Tony, became a hero despite all of these glaring faults and lapse in judgment and just being a general ass. And he still ended up being perceived as the greatest hero in the universe. And yes, he could have that title because he did, save the day. He did have to save the day in Endgame
multiple times.
Well, specifically Endgame, because that's the only one that matters. That's the only thing he did that can't feasibly come back to bite him in the ass, like every other victory.
What about the Chitauri invasion when he went up there and
he did nothing, and he created Ultron because of it.
It's because he had PTSD,
and he still created Ultron. And he was going to create Ultron before any of that's it. On one of the episodes we'll get into just the full scope of that. But what you need to know is that Mysterio wanted to pretend to be a superhero, and because to get back at Iron Man, to basically erase the memory of Iron Man by pretending to be a hero from another universe, because no one knew who he was because he was fired by Iron Man and his technology was stolen by Iron Man, so no one would know who Quentin Beck is to do that. And he just basically manipulated it. He had his whole cast and crew, like a true actor would, to help orchestrate this whole scenario and whatnot. Now, you're probably thinking to yourself, like me and Q was watching the movie, is how this even went on. How would he even have technology to do this? Well, in the movie, Nick Fury, and I'll explain to you why I did this when I said Nick Fury, he gave Spider-Man Peter some glasses that Tony had in previous movies and it had a software called Edith, where it gave, whoever had them could...
Gotta tell the acronym.
I forgot it. Even dead, I'm the hero. Which is ironic because it's literally his fault why everything went to hell, because he thought that way. But it basically gives whoever holds those glasses complete Big Brother autonomy over the world. The glasses can see into any type of computer software, can delete any photo, can call in a drone strike to kill somebody, can do all of these.
Which all happened in the movie, mind you.
Yes, could do all of these major things. And where the hell was all of this stuff in Infinity War, Endgame, Civil War? I won't say Age of Ultron or anything before that because he probably didn't develop it. But specifically for all of those things,
killed a lot of those
glasses could have easily discerned that the Winter Soldier was not the person doing all those killing. And don't even get me started on, if he had on all of that stuff that was happening with Thanos.
What if he made Edith right before he died?
No, he couldn't have, because those were explicitly the glasses he had in Civil War and in Infinity War. I will give him a pass in Endgame, not really, because he was very much PTSD after watching a lot of people get dusted and half of the universe going, and I will give him a pass on that initially, but to know that he didn't use that in those 5 years where the Earth and the universe were rebuilding to help, and that seemed like an oversight. That seemed like a egregious oversight. And most importantly, it's an egregious oversight to give it specifically to a 16-year-old kid who, in two previous movies that you've seen him in, he was constantly telling him to not to do that, that he wasn't all the way ready for his responsibilities and stuff, and he kept putting training wheels on him. So the notion that he was going to give him these glasses, that just seems ridiculous in my opinion. But, and this is something I had to sleep on, you know, in the event that maybe he kind of foresaw him dying later on down the line, and that he, you know, Peter wasn't going to get them so young. But even then, Peter should be the last person I would expect Iron Man, when you have his capable wife in Pepper Potts, his best friends in Happy and War Machine, who have shown that they will not use that, even though they might disagree with Tony in certain aspects, they wouldn't jeopardize lives of many on some technology that are flat-foot stupid, and most importantly, just flat-foot destroying. I won't say Captain America, because clearly they had fallen out. They had to have fallen out between that time, so he didn't trust him, wouldn't have trusted him with that technology. But giving it to Peter, of all people, when there were at least 3 other capable individuals who wouldn't have used that type of thing irresponsibly, just kind of felt not contrived plot-wise, because it was completely in Iron Man's character to do something so stupid on the grounds of it seeming smart, that it's nothing that just didn't make sense, you know, contextually wise. But it definitely calls into question Iron Man's character and where, you know, where's your head at? Where's your head at?
Nah, I think Spider-Man definitely.
Do you think Peter Parker would be responsible enough to handle a satellite with literal millions of ways to not just cause massive destruction, but in the wrong hands, and we'll get to that, can basically usurp life on Earth?
I feel like he made his mistake, but he handled it. I feel like, and I feel like Tony Stark believed that he could handle that.
But that's what. One, he really didn't handle it. We're going to definitely get into how he didn't handle it.
How he didn't handle it? He stopped him.
What? But my point is that,
and I'm pretty sure Mysterio still could have managed to do that, whether or not he lost to Peter Parker or not, because he still knew his identity.
Well, and let me be fair. There's also another major point that's neither Spider-Man's nor Iron Man's fault, I'm going to get into, but I just find it incredibly irresponsible that a 16-year-old, see, we're Spider-Man fans until the day we die. So we have a personal bias that if Spider-Man has any problem, he can overcome it and make everything right. But
his marriage to Mary Jane.
But no, that's not even but no, in all seriousness, so we have that bias, but in the context of that universe, it really doesn't make any sense for that to be a thing that Iron Man would give to Spider-Man, or at least in more accurate terms to give to a 16-year-old kid. Because if that's the case, what about what's-his-face from Iron Man 3 that he knew before Peter? Why didn't he think of him to give it to him? I mean, he has no discernible superpowers. He's shown to be a competent enough mechanic that he was invited to the man's funeral.
He wasn't Peter Parker, though.
Okay, but he knew, but he wasn't, as he's older than Peter, actually.
But Spider-Man has powers.
If superpowers is the only reason
no,
why
it's not, but it's superpowers as far as his character. So Iron Man might have liked the kid, but that doesn't necessarily mean you see yourself in that kid.
But again, Iron Man once told Spider-Man that, you know, but I know what you're getting at. Peter is more responsible because he actually has something that Iron Man doesn't. He has real power that can make a difference long term, whereas Iron Man doesn't. And therefore Peter, and like they said in the movie and in previous things, Tony sees the best
better version of himself.
But there's certain things you just don't do. And there's just certain things you don't do and certain things you don't invite. And I feel like giving a 16-year-old kid access to a large super weapon like that shouldn't even been invented in the first place, that just seems like...
I agree, because the first thing he did with it is try to get a picture deleted.
And that almost got a kid flapped. So
definitely. Almost got him paved up.
So that's not a big thing. But enough dancing around like a sombrero. Keep going into it so we can go into how this really is.
Well, since I can say it, can we do the celebration again? All right, like I was saying before, our prayers were answered.
Yes.
We were heard by Amy Pascal and Kevin Feige.
But mostly Amy Pascal.
Mostly Amy Pascal. We were heard about one of these. Every so often in life, we have a character that transcends space and time that no one else can be seen playing this character.
That is so spot on. That is so just beautifully cast that while there may be others who knock it out of the park in their own special way,
this one specific
person,
actor holds a special place in your heart that never can be taken away.
And you can always count on them to always deliver the goods. And that man is
J.K. Simmons. So let me give you guys the rundown. In the mid-credit scene, we get a shot of Spider-Man swinging with MJ.
The movie ends with them swinging,
yes,
and then it picks back up with him taking her wherever she wanted to go.
He drops her off wherever she's going and says, all right, I guess I'm going to get out of here. Right before she says that, on the monitor, a news outlet comes on, which describes what happened in London, and it
Which for those, let's paint the context for that. London is the finale of the film. That's where the movie ends off. When Spider-Man gets his dope new suit and discerns how to stop Mysterio, and like how Q mentioned before, masters his aforementioned spider sense. It ends with this huge climax where Mysterio ends up getting accidentally shot by one of the drones, Spider-Man overcoming the illusions and shutting down the drones.
Mysterio tries to shoot him. Spider sense.
That's a cool part of the scene. But the meat point is Mysterio ends up dying and being stopped. Spider-Man is able to recover Edith, which Mysterio stole from him, and shut down the drones, and the day is seemingly safe.
Then they cut to a scene where that scientist that was working with Mysterio, who's from Iron Man 1, he downloads a file. So back to the scene where he drops MJ off.
And just before going any further, I just simply thought, because the character himself is actually the second generation Mysterio, so I just simply thought
he was going to be the next Mysterio.
That's all it was setting up. That, he's going to be the new Mysterio to continue what he left off on, and yada yada, all of that stuff. But no,
he just downloads and edits a version of the events that happened in the movie to paint Spider-Man as if he single-handedly used the drones to attack London and do what Mysterio actually did.
While also maintaining that Mysterio was indeed from an alternate universe, and that he had no ties to. And it had no ties to the universe. But the biggest thing, bigger than J.K.
And they MacGuffined us, because in the scene when Mysterio is getting ready to do what he does, because spoiler, like he said, they revealed Spider-Man's identity.
No, I didn't say that yet. We're building up to that. We're going to build up to that.
Well, I already said it now. But they MacGuffined us, because remember when he was getting ready to say it, he was like, Pete, and then it cut out.
Well, to build up to that, the reason why that was so shocking, among other things, was because there was nothing in the scene adjacent that would even give Mysterio enough time to do that, and you kind of had to.
No, actually, no.
Yeah.
Remember the scene where he was like, keep the simulation running, and then
no, that wasn't because he didn't, because all of that dialogue happened after he got shot and he was laying down. So he was in a specific way that he couldn't even, that he didn't see, like he was quiet. So that had to have been edited. With the technology that was downloaded off the phone.
They have the most high-tech technology. I'm pretty sure he could have finessed any way to make that.
But I'm saying the dude did that.
And they had illusion tech.
I'm saying that the dude, that's what I'm getting at. The dude did that after the fight, not during, but afterwards. Because I'm pretty sure that Spider-Man would have been able to sense that, like he sensed him almost shooting him on the bridge, but. Like Q blurted out rather than let it get be built up. But yes, that was the major thing. Bigger than J. Jonah Jameson coming back. Bigger than J.K. Simmons.
It's not.
Shout out J.K. Simmons. 100%.
Nobody can be J. Jonah Jameson but you. Shout out to you.
That honestly,
in the real world.
That honestly is a footnote, because yes, for the first time in any major live action film, they've revealed seemingly Spider-Man's identity to the world. It's unequivocal. It's not nothing that was cut off and left up to the imagination, and this is the biggest thing. And they just flat out reveal it. They have Mysterio say Spider-Man is Peter Parker.
No, you gotta say how they did it.
No,
they cut back and Peter Parker. They MacGuffined us, making us think, oh wow, it cut out right before he told it. Then it cuts right back to say his full name.
Right? Yes, that's how they did. That's how it was. That's how they did. That's how they ended the second credit scene. They screwed Spider-Man. Like I said very loudly in the theaters, they screwed Spider-Man over. And this is, to say the least, I'm not even going to go on any type of tangent or any type of personal feelings, because the main thing above all is this is an interesting take on the character because, and we're not going to go into any further details on that part. There, the second credit scene, we're probably going to expound on it a little bit further, but it's definitely interesting to see because there's a lot of ways they can go about it, and a lot of ways people couldn't expect, and a lot of ways people can expect. But it definitely, if the job was to entice you to see the next Spider-Man adventure in the MCU, that mid-credit scene did its job. But I'm pretty sure for those who've been keeping up with the Marvel movies, you're asking yourself, where's Sam Jackson? Because he was in the movie heavily featured in the trailers and commercials. And how come he didn't know about this with Spider-Man, and how did he let Mysterio do all of this? Well, there's a very simple answer for that. Because that was not Sam Jackson in the movie. And I know what you're thinking. Yeah, it is. It was Nick Fury. But it wasn't. Because you see, if you've seen Captain Marvel,
which we did.
We've talked about this. The Skrull characters in the movie, as a divergent from the comics, aren't villains. They are peaceful aliens trying to at the time of Captain Marvel, rather, they were just peaceful refugee aliens trying to escape from the Kree's wrath, and they were friends. They befriended Captain Marvel and Nick Fury and all of that. And throughout the course of Spider-Man Far From Home, watching it, I was kind of frustrated because there was a lot of instances in the movie I kind of felt like they were doing what I disliked about Homecoming, and having these MCU characters show up to say these things that just don't really fit and kind of just seem contrarian to be contrarian. But then the final credit scene shows that Nick Fury was never there, and neither was Maria Hill, his second in command. They were the Skrulls, Talos, and his wife. They were pretending to be them on Earth, handling the situation. So it made sense. A lot of the oversights and just simple things that kind of seem like when you were listening to it the first time, you're like, oh, that's something Nick Fury would say. But then when you see the reveal, oh, that's why it didn't really make that much sense, and that's why Mysterio was able to finesse Nick Fury, which in most cases you could make an argument that wouldn't have happened. And most definitely, if Nick Fury was really Nick Fury, he wouldn't have probably given Spider-Man Edith. He probably would have kept it for himself instead of giving it to Peter. So a couple of little subtle things that they say, and
that goes into I was watching a couple videos. Why does Talos feel like he got beef with Captain Marvel?
No, that wasn't beef.
What was it?
No, that was
don't invoke her name.
That was reverence. Like, why waste her time with that? That wasn't. That wasn't.
That's what that is.
The person, I guarantee you, the person that made that video is one of those dude bros that say, Captain Marvel was lame.
It wasn't. It was just a theory because it didn't. How he said it, it didn't.
No, it's like, don't say, how dare you for this? That's not because.
You think so?
100. She saved their people. 100% saved their people.
So do you think that was a tale?
What?
When he said that, you think that was a tale?
Yeah, that was the first thing that came in my mind. Like we didn't talk about this, but that was literally the first thing that came into my mind when I saw the reveal that they were Skrulls. Was that when he said, because when did Nick Fury ever say don't? Why would he say that? Why would Nick Fury say don't invoke her?
That was my whole point.
Yeah, so that was like, and when I first heard it, I'm like, wow, like Nick Fury really is that? Like they're really writing this Nick Fury loves Captain Marvel thing. And no, that was like, no, Talos was like. Was kind of, because of course Talos would feel stupid endeavor to Captain Marvel because she went against the people that loved her, not loved her, but trained her and was her family, saved his wife and child, an entire subspecies of people from the Kree, and probably spent 2 decades fighting on their behalf. So of course he's going to feel like, well, this? You want her to come back from this? Don't you? You don't have the right to say her name. That's probably what Talos was feeling.
So with that being said, I think we're going.
But wait, we still got to touch on a major thing, where Nick Fury actually was, because while Talos
that wasn't the major thing.
No, yes, it was
up in space.
That's the stupid major, because you didn't think about this. And then while you're talking about theories you read, let me tell you something I said in the theater, which has more weight to it than you probably even realize. Because Nick Fury wasn't on Earth. He was in space with a whole other fleet of Skrulls. Well, just that's what we've seen. There could be other aliens, but he was most certainly in space, chilling in a hologram room. Now, you're probably thinking, oh, well, Nick Fury's in space, and I'm getting excited just talking about this before I drop this bomb. I'm just letting y'all know right now.
I'm listening.
Nick Fury's in space. He was like, yeah, Nick Fury walking, doing the Kevin Hart flapping his imaginary jacket like Sam Jackson know how to do. But it's not where he was in space. It's not who he was in space with.
Why he was in space.
It's not even why he was in space. It's what organization he was running in space. And ladies and gentlemen, that organization is called SWORD. And that is the space equivalent. Not even really the space equivalent, because it's actually one tier above SHIELD, depending on what you read in most things. But that's not the thing. Because SWORD is a Fox property, or was a Fox property. SWORD was extensively an X-Men because it was created and showcased. Beast was a part of SWORD. Abigail Brand, who's the real director of SWORD in the comics, she, for those who don't know, SWORD is the major X-Men, is the first major X-Men related thing in the MCU. Point blank, period.
Wow.
SWORD is not SWORD could not have popped up in any Marvel property prior to the Fox movie. And considering the fact that the Skrulls were, and this was confirmed, that they were originally supposed to be the antagonists in Dark Phoenix before they changed it to, like, there's literally cuts of the movie that were shown that had the Skrulls as the main bad guys in Dark Phoenix with a completely different third act that we're definitely going to talk about in a future podcast. But that's the first, and even its later equivalent, Alpha Flight. Alpha Flight is a big X-Men related property. So this basically is, in the most subtle way imaginable, the first hint at the X-Men showing up in the MCU. When next we see Nick Fury, he's going to say SWORD. When he says SWORD, he's probably going to have Captain Marvel, Maria Hill, and Abigail Brand. And it's long since been minorly rumored that the Eternals are going to get people to go see Eternals. They're going to mention the X-Gene and the X-Men, and that will be the first official step in the X-Men movie. So,
well, as long as we're talking about X-Men, I guess we can talk about the Fantastic Four too. Shout out! I want to see John Krasinski and Emily Blunt, as Mr. Fantastic and Sue Storm.
All right, yeah, we'll just
Invisible Woman. Hey, I want to see it.
I mean, well, I don't know. Yeah, that too. But most important,
always hate.
No, I definitely love that casting. But yeah, just Fantastic Four and all that stuff. But yeah, that's the major. Those two post-credit scenes are very much like, you should see the movie just to experience it for yourself, and you just to definitely see the movie because it's definitely worth watching.
So QMG, what do you give Spider-Man Far From Home out of a 10?
Out of a 10, well, I was only going to say 5 because I can easily scale that
out of 10.
All right, it's a 7 out of 10. The end credit scenes don't. I'm gonna put it like this: the movie as a whole is a 7 out of 10.
I agree.
There's stuff that I liked, stuff that I didn't really care for, but definitely not an offensive Marvel movie. I definitely have a feeling to see it again, which is something I can't say for a lot of the solo Marvel outings. I definitely didn't say that for Homecoming. But if I'm judging the post and mid credit scenes collectively, I'm giving that a Stephen A. Smith out of 10 because, man, I was tired of them folks. Watching that mid-credit scene was the equivalent of being kidnapped.
We got Stephen Q. Smith in a bit.
Stored in a basement. Tortured. And then they let you out when you have no use to anybody. That's how the mid-credit scene felt. And then watching the post-credit scene, I felt hoodwinked, bamboozled, run amok, led astray, and flat out deceived watching that damn Nick Fury not be there.
There we go.
So that's mine. That's my ranking. Q.
I give it a 7 as well. I just think it was really good. I think the stakes weren't very high. Now we got the mid-credit scene that made us to raise the stakes, but as far as the movie in its base, from beginning to credits, it was very safe. It kept it in containment, and I feel like a safe movie, good, safe, funny movie deserves a 7.
Yes.
I'm just ready to see what these guys do next. I'm ready to see where we go next in the realms of the MCU.
Yeah,
I see they're going to take a lot of strides. They got to try to condense those X. They got to try to fit the X-Men and Fantastic Four in there somehow, and I'm ready to see how that works.
Yes.
And as we get ready to close it on out, what are you looking forward to most? In a quick synopsis, what are you looking forward to most in the next upcoming MCU saga?
Just to see how they do the X-Men and the Fantastic Four. You mentioned the Fantastic Four, and that Fantastic Four is there as well. But most importantly, the X-Men. I've said this, and I'll say this, and I keep saying it. The X-Men are the Michael Jordan of the Marvel franchise. The Avengers probably have made the most money in the last 10 years, but there's no franchise in Marvel's pantheon that means more than the X-Men. The Marvel Universe literally lives and dies with how the X-Men are perceived. The people who slacked off the Fox movies, yes, you have a significant amount of people doing that. But if it wasn't for them Fox movies, we wouldn't have the MCU. There would be no Endgame. There would be no Black Panther. There would be no Iron Man. None of that without the groundwork the X-Men movies laid. And that goes for any other superhero movie that came out in the past 20 years. So
X-Men are probably the biggest staple. And the Avengers have taken a...
The Avengers are... If I have to make an equate to it, the Avengers are LeBron James circa Miami Heat prime. He's not solidified himself just yet, but he's definitely at that point he was definitely getting himself into the conversation. But the X-Men are unequivocally Michael Jordan, and I want to see what the MCU does. I have my own personal feelings on it, but I want to see what the MCU does just so I can see if it's one way or the other. Not saying that it's going to be one way rather, but I just need to see what they do with these characters and how they're going to step their foot on the gas. Because once you introduce the X-Men, even more so than Fantastic Four, and the Fantastic Four has a lot of heat to them that people will sleep on. But
when Doctor Doom, Galactus, I'm still waiting to see a great Doctor Doom. We need to see an amazing Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom is so good that he is teetering the line of an anti-hero. So we could see so many things done with that. Even a move, probably Dr. Doom would be the original villain. He could be a Loki-esque character.
Nah, we don't need him to be that charismatic. We need him to be brooding and malicious. He
could be
no.
Loki was
Loki. Loki does. We don't need any. That's what.
I want to see an almost anti-hero Dr. Doom.
We've
already had a bad Dr. Doom. We've already had a Victor Doom.
No, we need a Dr. Doom ruling his country above all else. Not above all else, and we need that. But just back to my main point about the X-Men. Yes, we know what we want with what we say we want with the Fantastic Four, but the X-Men. I'm going to say this right now: the future of the MCU lives and dies on the X-Men. Because if the X-Men, if they flop with the X-Men, nobody's gonna care if they do well with any other characters. Period.
We don't see.
Because I'm not gonna care if Nova's better. Because really, all that's gonna show me is that the MCU has a ceiling, and that's it. And
Shang-Chi.
I'll support Shang-Chi.
I'm
going to support Shang-Chi for that representation for my Asian brothers and sisters out there because they need
shout out Shang-Chi.
But yeah, that's the exception to the rule.
And with that being said, you know how we gotta do it, how we gotta turn it on.
In the words of good old Jonah Hill, no. Let me switch that up. In the words of the great Danny McBride, let me set up Young Gun Peter right quick.
Man, it's wobbling. The Weeble wobbles. Thug life. You know how we gotta sign it on out. Gotta thug it on out. Appreciate you guys for tuning in. This is Into the Quniverse for a quick couple of announcements. Once again, on PlayStation Network, Quniverse. If you guys want to find me, I play Mortal Kombat, I play Call of Duty, I play NBA 2K, I play Street Fighter. If you guys got a PlayStation 4, you guys hit me up on PlayStation Network at Quniverse. It'll be a picture of me and my lovely wife up there. You guys give me shout outs. You guys can play with me when I get off work or when I got some free time. Go ahead and run some matches.
And Quamon's RG whenever I'm not tired from work and I decide to play online, which I rarely do.
And once again, you guys can follow us on Instagram at Into the Quniverse, on Facebook at my personal Facebook, Quentin Ziegler,
at Quamon Sar in all lower cases, at Geeked Up Media, and coming soon, the official Into the Quniverse Facebook page, so you can see all of the, when we do exclusive stuff, y'all can see it. When we do live streams, we're gonna begin to transition. We're gonna not anytime soon. We're not gonna tell y'all to get up off of this one because y'all still need to tune into this this specific page to watch this high tier content.
Yes.
But soon and very soon, not only are we going to go see the King, but we are also going to be on the Into the Quniverse Facebook page, as well as the Into the Quniverse Twitter account, where you can know when we're going live on Facebook, and you know when the YouTube videos are dropping.
And YouTube is Into the Quniverse as well. So whenever you guys want to watch any of our content, go to Into the Quniverse on YouTube, all capital letters, and like and share. And go ahead and subscribe.
Comment, and make sure when you subscribe, hit that bell notification so you can be updated twice.
Every time we upload.
Not just on Twitter when you're following the Twitter account, but also on the YouTubes, because sometimes YouTube be a little bit fugazi on when they want you to get notified. So when they get fugazi, the Twitter won't be. So you know regardless. And like we said, this week will be the official start of our recorded podcast, where you will exclusively be able to hear where we will be kicking it this Saturday.
So you guys will be getting a recorded and a live. So that's 2 podcasts in 1 week we'll be letting out for you guys.
And the live version will then begin to transition into more just talking, shooting the breeze. The recorded one will be talking about whatever specifically happens throughout the week, if not, a mosh posh. And these recorded ones will be more where you guys can, ask us questions rather than us giving you information.
So our live ones will be definitely more of a back and forth with you guys. We want to see what you guys are talking about. We want to know how you guys feel about what all of us have been watching. Y'all are a part of this. Y'all are Into the Quniverse. So y'all are a part of the Quniverse. So we want you guys to give us feedback, and we want to listen to you guys, and we want to conversate. But
most importantly, coming soon to the Into the Quniverse, him, me, Q versus QMG in Fighting Game City.
This man do not want to see me. Just the last time.
In one game, he's going to tell you one of 2 games.
What happened in Mortal Kombat?
Well, the game that I barely played. I haven't played that game.
What happened in Soul Calibur last time we played?
I won.
No, you didn't.
Yes, I did.
Well, we'll see, guys. There you go.
And then what happened in Dragon Ball FighterZ last time
we played 1 match, and you won by 1 inch.
Wait, I did what? Exactly.
Anyway, with that being said,
and then go ahead and say Street Fighter V, the one game that
he's never beat me.
That I don't like to play, so that doesn't even count. But you like to play.
Anyway, we'll talk more about that in the next coming weeks.
Yes.
Seabiscuit.
What?
Anyway, guys, this is Into the Quniverse. I appreciate it. Love you guys. You guys, my geeks and gamers, keep on tuning in where we bring you guys everything geeky, gamey, and nerdy. And that is it. We are signing out.
And that has been your boy, Q. And this is QMG.